But you guys know where we got to start. We have to start with North Carolina. We have to start with the Tar Heels. We have to start with them putting up 100 points in a 100-92 win over Tennessee at home in the Dean Dome. Tyler, I'm going to you first on this one. I mentioned to you off air, Harrison Ingram, 20 points, 6 boards, 3 steals. He hit 4 threes. He was terrific in the Bahamas. I think this guy has been the answer that this team needed at the 3, at the 4, that big wing position. I love what I've seen from him.
Yeah, he's been by far the best transfer for this team. He's brought a whole new aspect. I mean, he's played every position from 2 to 5. And one thing about Harrison is he's so versatile. He gives UNC the opportunity to go small at times and spread the court and open things up for Armando inside. But I think the one thing that he does is he knocks down open shots, and desperately that's what we needed last year and the year before. Somebody that can hit open shots and make the three. But that's been key for us. He's been unbelievable, and I think he's been probably the brightest spot and the most consistent player on the UNC team this far. And also, you could say he's won us some ball games because without his consistent play, I don't think we are, sitting here. I think we have more than one loss this season if he wasn't playing so well.
Jerel, what do you make of North Carolina so far this season, what you've seen from them?
Oh man, it was. I think the last time I was on, I just talked about it a little bit, and I think this is just the missing piece right here is that Armando Baycott got it going again, and man, they look like they look like an absolute juggernaut tonight. He was hitting on all cylinders, along with like we said, Ingram has been playing great basketball and been a huge piece in addition for them. And then you got the guards, R.J. Davis. Kind of kept his game rolling. He played really well again tonight. Between those three guys, I think they had like over 60 combined points. And then you had the freshman, man, Elliot Cadeau come in, and not a stat line that will blow you away at first glance, man. But I think he had 10 assists, 0 turnovers tonight, man. So that was a huge contribution on his behalf, and then the rest of those guys kind of fed out off of it, and man, they kind of just blew Tennessee out of the water, which was a little bit surprising because you expected Tennessee, Rick Barnes' team to put up a little bit more fight defensively, but this one looked a little bit more like an NBA game tonight. But man, Carolina looked great.
Yeah, not a lot of defense being played in Chapel Hill tonight. Tyler, Elliot Cadeau, we mentioned this before the show went live. First 3 games that he had in his college career, 8 assists, 8 turnovers. The last 4 games that he's played, 21 assists, just a single turnover. Those 4 games, the 3 games in the Bahamas, Northern Iowa, Villanova, Arkansas, and then tonight against Tennessee. That is pretty damn impressive for a freshman that reclassified. He should be a senior in high school right now.
Exactly. And I put Elliot Cadeau in the category of like a Kobe White, Anthony Cole type of player. And tonight also he moved into the starting lineup. And if you look at the past couple seasons, I wouldn't say we had a pass first point guard. He put up, we just said 10 assists, 0 turnovers. We haven't had a guy put up that type of stat since you'd have to look back at like a Kendall Marshall type player. But to me, Cadeau has the ability to create his own shot. He has athleticism. Kendall, to me, was he's a pass first point guard, but I don't think that Kendall had the athleticism that Cadeau possesses. And I think Cadeau is a huge piece. But also the one thing that you see is you also see Hubert giving him consistent minutes as well, where he's been a little bit hesitant to put freshmen in or give the bench players, quality minutes. This year, he's starting to trust his bench and play his bench more, and you're seeing Cadeau get his confidence and play better with more minutes. And I think he's just going to continue to get better and better, and we'll really see what this kid's about, when it comes conference time. And, the more confidence he has and the more playing time he gets, he's just going to get that much better.
Yeah, I think it says a lot about North Carolina this year that we're sitting here talking about one of their most impressive wins of the season, and one of the more impressive wins we've seen in college basketball, period, this season. And we haven't talked about Armando Baycott, who went for 22 and 11, and we haven't talked about R.J. Davis, who had 27 points on his own tonight. Here's the question I got for you, Jerel, and I don't want you to answer this afterwards too, Tyler. I think the best lineup for this team right now, we kind of saw it tonight, right? It's with Cormac Ryan playing alongside RJ Davis with Elliot Cadeau out there and Harrison Ingram kind of moving into that 4 spot, putting all those guys around Armando Bacot. My question is, they gave up 92 points tonight, right? Is this a team that can kind of play a style of basketball where you need to get up in the 80s, you maybe even need to get to the 90s? You got to be able to more or less outscore people if you're not going to be able to guard, because I don't know where the defense comes from when you got those 5 guys on the floor together, Jerel.
Yeah, and I think I think that was a little bit of the issue tonight, and Connect was kind of on pace to go for 40 there as they started to creep back in the game in the second half, man. So I think it's going to be a balance, but man, I definitely think that's kind of their go-to lineup. I think they play faster. They essentially have 2 point guards on the floor with that lineup, so it really doesn't matter who gets it between Davis and Cadeau. They could both push it really good in transition. And then we talked about Ingram, and he's just kind of a jack of all trades. He could do a little bit of anything in a matchup nightmare. You put all those guys with Cormac Ryan out there to stretch the floor as well. They're a tough team to stop because, you know, to be honest with you, like I said, they don't have a lot of weaknesses. You know, they can go inside, they can throw it down to Bacot. Ingram can do a little bit of everything. You got 2 really dynamic guards, and then you got a shooter out there as well too to help keep the floor space. But I think the key is just going to be finding somebody to step up for those guys on a perimeter night in, night out, and take those tough challenges defensively, because you're going to need somebody that's going to be in there to stop people.
Yeah, I agree. I think this team has to make a commitment to defense. And, you know, this isn't, when we watched the game in the Bahamas against Villanova, Dixon went off. And I was watching the game and I was thinking, is this guy going to get 40 before we have some help side defense on him? We're going to have a dig guy. And then Connect went off on us tonight. So this team, to me, has to make a commitment defensively if they want to be the team that makes a deep tournament run come March. I think they've got to figure it out defensively. But their best lineup, yeah, I do think Cadeau running the point is their best lineup. I think RJ is better suited as a shooter at the 2 spot. And then it also opens things up for Armando inside, which Armando got it going well tonight. I personally thought he struggled a little bit in the Bahamas. I think he averaged like 9 points down there. But I think when Armando runs, rim runs, and gets a deep seal inside the post where he doesn't really have to put the ball on the floor and he can go straight up with it, I think that's where he does most of his damage. And he has ability. He has good hands around the rim. He can get his his hands on the ball, and then he can go back up, get fouled, go to the foul line. He's an improved free throw shooter. So, yeah, I would agree with you. This is their best lineup. But also, I do want to look at their bench. I think Jalen Washington is a guy, 6'10", has some length. He's shown in spurts that he can play and do a lot of different things. He has some good outside touch. I think he has to make a commitment defensively as well, because tonight when Tennessee got a little confident, there were some blow-bys and he struggled defensively. But he's a guy who I think is really going to, be key as far as depth goes for Carolina, that I think could actually be a pretty big factor, because I think he has the ability to be a really good player as well.
I'm glad you said it, Tyler, because I'm not sure. That's one of my former kids, one of my Mean Streets kids. He's from Indiana. But yeah, I almost threw something in my TV after those back-to-back blow-bys. Fucking Josiah Jordan James just walking to the hole on him. So yeah, I'm gonna send him a nasty text message, but it's better it's coming from a Carolina guy anyway, so he won't be as mad.
Hey, I'm down at the Smith Center a lot, and I always see Jalen down there working. And so I talk to him every once in a while. And I love when I see the young kids putting in the work in the Smith Center at odd hours. I really respect that. So, I know he's dealt with some injuries, but I think he's going to be a key player moving forward.
Yeah, the one thing I will say about this North Carolina team is, as an impartial observer, I'm not going to complain if they give up a lot of points and we end up seeing games in the 90s. I'm here for it. It's a lot of fun to watch them play, just like it was a lot of fun to watch Kentucky play last night. That, my friends, is a tease for what we're going to talk about next segment.